Hi, my name is Mary. Today FM plays the best music in Lambasa. Today FM rocks.
My name is Thomas. I'm here in Nakasi and I like to listen to Today FM because it rocks.
My name is Milenia. Today FM rocks here in Singapour.
My name is Alfriti and Today FM rocks here in Tavua.
My name is Mary Jane. I love listening to Today FM here in Ba. Today FM rocks.
My name is Ilay Tiambal and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
In the news tonight, PM tells Mandela meeting no more division for Fiji. Rambuka says Ndranindalo comments merely attention getters. And safety warnings at sea being ignored.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has told the leaders at the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly that Fiji will not return to the painful days of division. He made the remarks at the Nelson Mandela Peace Summit, a meeting celebrating the 100th anniversary of the South African leader's birth. Pranita Prakash reports.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says the life and the legacy of South African leader Nelson Mandela is an inspiration for all Fijians.
That legacy should mean a great deal to every person on our planet, but it holds a special meaning for the nation and people that I lead, because like South Africa, Fiji and the Fijian people suffered for decades under a political culture of division based on ethnicity. This fueled hatred and disunity between our communities.
Bainimarama says Mandela knew that in order to solve long-standing problems, sometimes there is a need to make sacrifices.
It is the truth we in Fiji recognize as well. That is why thousands of brave Fijians have served on the front lines of conflict areas around the world as UN peacekeepers over the past 40 years. We are deeply proud of that legacy. We are proud to make such a large commitment to global peace for a nation of our size and population.
The Prime Minister is in New York to attend the 73rd session of the United Nations General Assembly, which ends next Wednesday. Head of states from around the world are at the summit, which aims to promote world peace. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
SODELPA leader Sitiveni Rambuka has hit back at the Ndranindalo's attacks on him, saying the former NFP president and now Hope Party leader just wants to make a name for herself. Ndranindalo says Rambuka is to be held responsible for the destruction of Fiji after he staged Fiji's first two military coups in 1987. But Rambuka says all these accusations against him are nothing new. Ali Kimbia with the story.
SODELPA leader Sitiveni Rambuka says he expects attacks against himself as we fast approach the general elections.
Well, she's entitled to her comments, and many people have made that comment, so it's nothing new.
Ndranindalo, who now heads the New Hope Party, says she can't stand working with the SODELPA leader, and that's why she left the NFP as a party president. Rambuka says the decision for any party to work with SODELPA is going to be made by the party leadership. He doesn't expect all parties to work with him.
No, I didn't want to sit with SODELPA anymore.
That's fine. I do not expect all the parties to be able to work with me. That is the prerogative of the party leader. She is the leader of that party, and she dictates that they do not work with SODELPA because of one person. You will have to accept it.
As election day draws closer, Rambuka knows that he will have to dig deep to win a lot of votes, as many politicians will use his involvement in the NBF saga and the 1987 coups to derail SODELPA's dream of forming the next government. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
The Maritime Safety Authority has recorded 47 mishaps at sea so far this year. These include boats drifting due to engine breakdown, capsized vessels, abandoned vessels, overdue ships missing at sea, and vessels aground. Maritime Safety Authority of Fiji says such mishaps can be avoided if mariners do a risk assessment before going out to sea. Savaira Tambor reports.
Those setting out to sea are not taking heed of warnings or practicing safety rules, says the Maritime Safety Authority.
Please adhere to the weather and also remember the training that you have attended and apply those training, and always do risk assessments before you leave and even while you're out at sea, continuously assess the weather, listen to the weather, and take something to communicate. You take a mobile phone so that you can communicate as fast as you can.
People reported missing at sea and vessels aground top the list of incidents, and the AMSEF has recorded 5 cases of each so far this year.
We conducted this awareness in the form of training, and at the end of the day we issue a licenses to them to operate small craft.
4 cases of overdue vessels have been recorded, while there were 2 cases of engine breakdown and 3 reports of vessels capsized to date. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
The Fijian Elections Office has clarified the areas that have been identified for pre-polling will not have physical voting station during the election. Hence, those who will not be able to cast their vote on election day will need to visit their allocated pre-poll stations on the required day, or they'll miss out on the opportunity to vote this year. Rachel Nath has more.
589 pre-poll stations will be set up around the country a week before the election.
This is an election before election day. What this means is that voters who are listed under pre-poll will vote before election day, and they will not be able to vote on election day. So if anybody who has their names listed under a pre-poll station, if they do not vote at the pre-poll station on that day and time that we have allocated, they will not be able to vote afterwards.
The Fijian Elections Office is reminding those eligible to vote to register, as they may only have a few weeks left to do so. Registration will close on the day the writ of the election is announced.
We have set up urban hotspots which are located in heavily populated areas around the country to allow for voters to easily access our services, where they can update their voter details, they can register to vote in the 2018 general elections, and they can also verify and confirm their polling venue for the 2018 general election.
The pre-poll schedules will be announced once the writ of the election is issued by the President. Rachel Nath, FBC News.
National Federation Party leader Professor Biman Prasad is denying, saying that he will stop government spending on some media outlets, especially the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation, if elected into government. However, just a couple of months ago at the NFP convention, he revealed his intention to stop the public service broadcast fees paid to the national broadcaster. Kelly Vadala reports.
The first thing we will cut is government propaganda spending on Fiji Sun, FBC and COVIS.
When asked to elaborate on his statement over the weekend on the For the Record show, the NFP leader had a change of heart.
I didn't say stop. If you stop, you won't be here. What I said is we will relook at the budget. We will provide priority in terms of where we think a national broadcaster should concentrate. What is the value for money? And that's a perfectly reasonable, logical statement to make.
You see, Dr. Prasad speaks with a forked tongue. He's contradicting himself, maybe deliberately so. You can't say we're going to cut something and then say later, no, I didn't say that, I meant something else. Again, it's a matter of credibility. It's very confusing. I'm confused as to what he's trying to say. I'm sure a lot of people are confused. And, if he continues like this, he is in danger of looking very foolish.
Syed Qayyum says the NFP's continued claims of media bias by the FBC is complete nonsense.
I don't know where all this talk of bias is coming from. And, I can sometimes understand, it's election time. FBC is a government-owned institution, so obviously there'll be a bit of electioneering going on, and all sorts of things will be said to muddy the waters as part of the electioneering campaign process.
Syed Qayyum has reiterated that FBC only gets a fee from the government for public service broadcast programs produced by the National Broadcast for All Fijians. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Still to come, small businesses in Savu Savu show growth, and seminar discusses post-disaster prep. Details after the break.
Bula, nevang gomal kay leloma, ngongai nakas untuk makarong ng Bula FM, nambang dua na sere.
Hoya ubasit sai sa Ilambasa, ya untuk talita na warong ng Bula FM, nambang dua na sere.
Gua do tumeli ako na tao no hinga toka, talita kina na warong ng Bula FM, nambang dua na sere.
Wana tunga ng Bula FM, nambang dua na sere naman.
Na vengo fani na tau nyongo singatoka kita ndo tali taka na Bula FM namba 2 na sere.
Bula FM namba 2 na sere.
The Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation has raised concerns about the change in the use of the employer's 1% levy that will come into effect next year. Chief Executive Nesbitt Hazelman says while they support the government's intention, they are concerned that in-service training will be critically affected. Maggie Boyle reports 50% of the levy will be used to fund general practitioners' consultation fees, 40% will go towards the Accident Compensation Commission, and 10% will remain with the Fiji National University.
It's a revolving fund of an estimated $20 million that in the past had been set aside entirely for training. In 2019, this will no longer be the case.
I think employers felt that there needed to be some consultation around this issue, considering that they are one of the major contributors to this fund.
While government is introducing a 150% tax rebate, Nesbitt Hazelman says that the long-term effects could mean a loss in productivity and economic growth.
The thing we don't want to see happen is that we want to ensure that organizations continue to upskill their employees and not treat this as an additional cost to doing business.
Meanwhile, in an emailed response, the Chief Executive for the Accident Compensation Commission, Parvez Akbar, commended government for addressing the need for Fijian workers to be compensated on a no-fault basis. He says the funding model for the scheme is a win-win for all parties. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The Fiji Navy today farewelled their New Zealand Navy brothers after the end of Operation Wasa Wasa II. The exercise began last year and has been successful in helping the Fijian Navy with their operations. Anna Ravolo reports.
The training by New Zealand Navy during Operation Wasa Wasa II has benefited not only the Fiji Navy, but also in patrolling our exclusive economic zone and other activities.
The success of Operation Wasa Wasa 1 and 2 speaks volume of New Zealand's continual support and cooperation within the region, not only Fiji, but to other Pacific countries.
The inspection of vessels was also one of the activities that was ticked off the list.
The aim is to contribute to resource and water protection ops within the Fijian exclusive economic zone. With all those agencies and personnel involved, this was a substantial team effort between our two countries that this year alone has resulted in 160 vessels being inspected.
Got us into the space of starting to think about transnational and organised crime and the influence that is having in our domain.
Brigadier General Williams also mentioned they will continue supporting the Fiji Navy in terms of skills, technology and experience to prepare them for the arrival of more Navy vessels. Anna Rovulo, FBC News.
A 28-year-old man alleged to have attempted to murder his partner by drowning her in Doloi Suva 2 weeks ago has been further remanded in custody by the Suva High Court. Rajiv Padiachi is charged with 1 count of attempted murder. It's alleged that he pushed his partner into the water and tried to drown her. Padiachi made a bail application which was strongly opposed by the prosecution on the grounds that there is strong evidence against the accused. The prosecution has until Friday to file their objection and the defense has until Monday to file their response. The matter has been adjourned to next Tuesday for a bail hearing. Recipients of the Micro and Small Business Grant in Savusavu have since 2015 contributed $5.7 million to the Fijian economy, and this is projected to grow with more entrepreneurs receiving their $1,000 grant. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
An assessment carried out on the 768 micro and small businesses funded through the MSBG program between 2015 and 2017 found that 479 businesses were operating successfully.
And this is exactly what the Fijian government wanted to achieve: strong and resilient grassroots communities.
One such recipient is 53-year-old Baranise Sevolau, who received the $1,000 grant last year and now runs a successful Yangona and Ndalo business.
The $1,000 grant I applied for was for my farming implements. I bought everything from knives to a sprayer, weedicides, wheelbarrows, and even a tent.
According to the assessment, these recipients contributed $5.3 million towards the Fijian economy and created approximately 200 jobs in Savusavu alone. Yesterday, 2,051 more micro and small entrepreneurs in Savusavu received the $1,000 grant from government.
I'm running a mini bakery back in the island of Kiowa. So with the grant received today, we'll upgrade that.
4,283 businesses in Savu-Savu are now assisted under the MSBG program since 2015. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
In a bid to assist Pacific Island countries recover quickly from natural disasters, a week-long workshop that looks at ways of accessing funds for assistance is underway in Nandi. Disaster Resilience for Pacific Small Island Developing States was funded by Russia and brought together key partners to help design a Pacific-tailored crowdfunding campaign to generate funds after a disaster. Felipe Naikaso reports.
One of the main topics being discussed during this workshop is to find ways of ensuring funds are easily accessed by Pacific Islands, especially after a natural disaster.
To better prepare for some disasters when they happen, and to see how can we act fast within early recovery funds, but also how can we use money from crowdfunding, actually having people around the world to support campaigns and to support early recovery.
For many Pacific Island states, getting assistance through funding after a disaster is a key area in terms of trying to rebuild.
Early recovery processes in disasters are usually one that gets delayed a lot of the time. The early recovery process is still in a gray area between the immediate humanitarian response as well as the longer-term recovery.
The workshop will also build contacts with funders who will be able to assist Pacific states during times of need.
Because being so prone to the disasters in Pacific region, this is like definitely a region to start with.
At least 15 participants from around the Pacific are attending the workshop, which ends on Thursday. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Renowned former school principal Jane Ryan has died at the age of 93. He was well known in the education sector, and the Jane Ryan College in Suva, which was formerly known as the Indian College, was named after him. Narayan served as a principal of the school for 32 years. He was instrumental in making the school one of the high achievers in education excellence in the country. Narayan was married to the late Irene Jane Ryan, who was a National Federation Party and Alliance Party politician and a Member of Parliament. Later in sports, Melly with all the very latest, but up next is Rachel with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening, and coming up after the break. FHL declares dividend of 12 cents per share. And in Growing Fiji, work on National Kidney Research Centre nears completion. Stay with us.
Lola, I am Eleanor. For the best classic hits, I only listen to Gold FM here in Singatoka. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Seni Rawa. I love listening to Gold FM here in Nosuri. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Dino. I'm from Outrigger, Coral Coast, Singatoka. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Salote. I love listening to Gold FM here in Nosuri. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Bula, my name is Marida. Gold FM plays the best classics here in Outrigger, Singatoka.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Leading business tonight, Vision Investment Limited has recorded a profit of $22.8 million for the year ending March 31st. Chief Executive PL Munasinghe says this is an increase of 11% when compared to the same period last year. The total revenue stands at $180.4 million, an increase of 6% compared to 2017. Munasinghe says this is the third consecutive year for the group to beat its financial forecast.
Fairly material loss of 2.4 million incurred by the PNG operation. If not for that loss, results would have been better. These outcomes also, as Chairman mentioned, exceeded the 3-year prospective financials that were disclosed in the information memorandum that was issued at the time of the listing.
Fijian Holdings Limited has declared to pay a dividend of 12 cents per share for the year ending June 30th. Accordingly, more than 1,200 shareholders of FHL will receive over $3.7 million in dividends next month. Group Chair Adriel Sofil says FHL continues to grow and they are able to reward their shareholders with increased dividends. Sofil says they continue to look for opportunities to expand the group's current portfolio to provide better returns for the shareholders. And we now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the money world.
It's all about the US dollar this week, with another Federal Reserve rate hike anticipated this Thursday. The Fed is set to raise interest rates for a third time this year to prevent the economy from growing too fast. Meanwhile, European Central Bank President Mario Draghi gave his regular economic update to the EU Parliament. He began with phrases lifted from the ECB policy statement, maintaining its neutral bias. However, he predicted a pickup in underlying inflation. In other news, tension between Washington and Beijing continues to escalate, with multi-billion-dollar tariffs between the two economic superpowers coming into effect on Monday. Global equity indices took a defensive stance and Wall Street pushed lower after starting the day in the negative territory. And that's all from HFC Bank for now. Vinaka.
Thanks, Sharon. On to the exchange rates. Now, with the fear of what will happen when the China-US trade tariffs kicks in next week, the markets were a bit cautioned today. Once again, our dollar rose against two of our major trading partners, Australia and New Zealand, and also picked up some ground against the Japanese yen, but slipped slightly against the other major currencies we cover. As for the commodities market, oil was on the rise at just over $72 per barrel. Gold closed at $1,197 an ounce, and silver closed down at $14.22 per ounce. And in Growing Fiji tonight, the National Kidney Research and Treatment Centre and its satellite units will be ready within the next 3 months. The centre, which will become the hub for kidney health services, will be led by specialist Dr. Amrish Krishan. It will be based at the Prime Plaza in Narere. The centre's first satellite unit is being established at the Nandi Hospital Complex and will be equipped to provide dialysis services as well. The centre will also coordinate important research activities and data collection. And that's it from Business Tonight. Melly joins you now with sports.
Thanks, Rachel. Up ahead in sports, Fijian Rua Ice home semi-final, and Marist Hockey is set for the two-day event. This and more after the break.
Hi, I'm Jyotishma. I'm from Singatoka. I love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM is hot.
Mirchi FM is #1.
I'm Charlene Robert. Mirchi FM rocks in Lambasa.
I'm Soname Nasori Jackson. Mirchi FM is hot.
My name is Raymond Dutt. I'm in Baba Singh Alliance. Mirchi FM is hot in Lambasa.
I'm Pritika from Jax Nasori. I love listening to Mirchi FM here in Nasori. Mirchi FM is hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
The Fiji Airways Nrua is looking forward to winning its last 3 matches and securing a home semi-final in the National Rugby Championship this season. They failed to get a home semi-final last year after finishing third on the table, but the team is confident of doing it this year. Vasnil Prasad reports.
Arriving into the country as the leaders of the NRC, the Fijian Nrua coach Senirusi Seruvakula now has only one aim going forward.
It's very important for these 2 home games, and then to have a home semi-final, and then we need to work hard for these 2 weeks.
Captain Moses Evoka also had the same views on Nrua's journey ahead.
We could have a home semi-final if we keep on being that number 1 on the table. I think we'll get a home semi-final.
The boys need to step up, and we can't afford to be playing chase-up rugby.
18-year-old Alibireti Lolo has set high goals. He wants to create history during his team's 3-match New Zealand tour later this week. The Ratu Kandavu Level School student will lead the side and is full aware that in order to qualify for the Tri-Nations Championship, they need to win all their matches.
The captain's role has come with a lot of responsibilities, and Alibireti Lolo says he is ready for the task.
For this responsibility, I will try to work harder and speak to the boys in order to achieve a goal for this tour.
The RKS under-18 pair says teammates have gelled well, despite spending less time together in camp.
We are cooperating and we are really language together, and we are working together as a team from the starting of the weeks that we were heading into camp. We were not knowing each other. We were not knowing each other. And straight away after the 2 weeks of training, we starting to communicate.
Fiji Secondary School Rugby Union Executive Bill Valati says this is a must-win for them.
After playing these three teams, then that will determine whether we are able to go back and play Australia and New Zealand next year. This year Tonga has replaced us, so we are going back to try and make our way back into the Tri-Nation.
The under-18 side will meet the New Zealand Barbarians, New Zealand Maoris and the Wellington Samoans during the tour. The first match will be held on Thursday and the last match will be held on Sunday.
The All Blacks are back training in Buenos Aires and are looking to rectify mistakes after their loss to South Africa. A decade of dominance by Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi at the top of world football has been ended by Croatia's Luka Modric. Sydney Roosters star Cooper Cronk could risk career-ending damage to his shoulder if he plays against the Storm on Sunday night in the NRL Grand Final. Third runners-up, the Stingers are back to end their 3-year drought at the Geotech Drilling Marist Hockey Tournament this weekend. The side is under the guidance of national coach and player Sean Corey, who is expected to boost the side. The Stingers know they will be up against the best, and they have been working on their defense.
I have the return of Cecil and David Langdor, who are playing in our backline. So, yeah, we pretty much got good players all over the field.
And in today's Play of the Day, Neymar won over his rivals after giving away his playing jersey to a young boy who stormed the field in PSG's 3-1 over Rennes. That was tonight's sports segment. Angie joins you later on with weather. And in the world of the weird and the wonderful, take a look at life in a Spanish city that banned cars. That's it from me for tonight. Good evening.
Narang gole senia, awama kita benakas, dorong bina kape, ona radio Fijuan, nandong mibit.
Ayaw benyana, dito barongon na radio Fijuan, nandong mibisi, hinatoka.
Guado ilaisa hinatoka, rong bina na heramakawa ina radio Fijuan hinatoka.
Radio Fijuan, nandong mibiti.
In new media tonight, could the internet split in two? Well, according to a former Google chief executive, he predicts this is possible due to the trade war between USA and China. And it's weather time now with Angie.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World. Looks like the rainy season is back for some places of the country, and if you didn't get this rain, I'm pretty sure it will come by soon. A little rain is quite good for our farms and animals after solid heat. Taking a look in the west, it's been a sunny day with scattered clouds. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, very rainy throughout. And up north, after a few light drizzles, it was settled. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 25 knots, moderate to rough seas. For the tides, low tide at 1:39 a.m., sunrise at 6:02. For tomorrow, this rain will continue in the central and eastern division, while the rest of the centers are expected to be dry. Tomorrow's temps, Suva, Lautoka and Savu-Savu will be quite cool with lows of 21 degrees. And looking further on to Thursday, the showers will gradually clear off. And that's all from the FBC Weather World. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we asked, should boat operators who fail to follow safety rules at sea have their licenses suspended?
Yes, they should be suspended in order for them to realize what they are doing.
If they could go for another training before they can be suspended.
I think they have to go through a training before they suspended.
They should think if given another chance, and if they don't, their license should be suspended.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, a city that banned cars claims the result has been astounding. The Spanish city is now described as paradise. Recapping the main stories for tonight, PM tells Mandela meeting no more division for Fiji. Rambuka says drowning Dalo comments merely attention getters, and safety warnings at sea being ignored. Now for these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we're asking, are you aware of your voting centres for the upcoming election? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, our shot of the day. Now, dolphins are highly intelligent and they're known for their playful behavior. This video was captured at Golden Point in Rakiraki. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, stay safe. Good night.
मैं नवनीत नंद नंबुआ लुम्बुआ से। जैसे फ्रेंडी नॉर्थ मशहूर है, वैसे रेडियो फीजी 2 भी सभी जगह मशहूर है। रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
सीमा नकाशी से मैं रेडियो फीजी 2 पसंद करती हूँ सुनने के लिए। रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
मैं हूँ अंकल किंग सिंगाटोका टाउन के टैक्सी ड्राइवर। जैसे रग्बी फेमस है, वैसे रेडियो फीजी 2 फेमस है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।